What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video, guys, look what we got back here. Howler. You guys remember this car? This is a stage 2 Whipple car, PP1, 10-speed automatic, 401A. Now, this is a car that broke the motor. We pulled the motor apart, and this is what the piston looked like. So the motor was trashed. We had to get a new one. So we got this motor from Illinois. This is a Pro Series 12-to-1 motor, a lot like the motor that's in my car. We reassembled everything and put it together with long tubes. Put the motor in the car, but with the long tubes, we were no longer able to use the Whpple tune. So we contacted Lund, and we had Lund tune the car. And the car runs great. We took it for a ride. This thing rips. And I gotta tell you, I really like the way this car runs. The Lund tune is good, but for this owner, it's a little too good. The owner remembers what it was like, how it drove with the Whpple tune. And anybody who's ever had one of these cars, stage 2 Whpple, and drives it around with the Whpple tune, you know that the Whpple tunes don't make as much power. They're a little soft. The shifting is very easy, much like a totally stock car. Well, the owner wants it that way because he doesn't race this car that much, and he commutes with it, something like 20,000-30,000 miles a year just in commuting. So today what we're going to do is we're going to retune this car to get it to be back to something like what the Whpple tune is like, and then we'll hold on to the Lund tune for when we go racing that couple of times a year. So enough talking, guys. Let's get into the video. All right, guys, just getting a look at Howler. You can see she's a beautiful car. Like I say, she's a 2019 Mustang GT PP1 401A car, 10-speed automatic. Look at that. Howler, the Coyote. So this car's been through a lot. Like I say, she's got a new motor, and she's a really nice car. The owner of this car drives it a lot, basically for commuting, you know, so the tune needs to be a little bit more streetable, something a little bit more docile for him. And we're going to write a tune for this thing today and see how that works out. You can see there's a PP1. Really nice looking interior. This is one sweet ride. Well, here it is, guys. Stage 2 Whpple. Illinois engine. Doesn't look any different, but this is one powerful motor. Okay, guys, so we got the car up on a dyno, and I just want to make mention that before we brought the car here, we took the Lund tune out of the car. The car right now has the Whpple tune in it, and even though that's not the right tune because it's not calibrated for the long tubes, it actually ran pretty good. Through a couple of codes, but on the most part it ran pretty good. So I just also want to make mention too that I've used a lot of tuners in my day, and I kind of know that when you're using multiple tuners, in this case we use Lund, and now we're going to use Tuning by James. You know, you got two tunes, those are two wires that you don't want to cross. It's only appropriate. You know, in this case Lund, they did their homework. They put a lot of effort into the tunes that they build, and you certainly don't want that tune in the car when you turn it over to another tuner. So we got the Whpple tune in the car right now. We're going to do some baseline dyno pulls with this, see what it could lay down, right, how it's running, and then we're going to do some dyno pulls once James starts tuning on the car. So should be pretty interesting, guys. We're on a dyno jet here. It's not too often that I do this kind of stuff on a dyno jet. Let's see how she does. Okay, guys, one thing I forgot to mention, this car has a killer chiller on it. You see it in there in the lower grille? It's a very important thing for this car because during tuning, we're going to data log this car and take a look at the effects of our downstream air temps. They should be pretty cold. I know in my car we were looking at 80, 85 degrees, where typically on a 90-degree day like today, they would be like 120, maybe 140 degrees. Tuning session for this thing should be very interesting. 610 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. Now this is SAE Smoothing 5 Mustang dyno. Excuse me, this is a dyno jet.
Right.
All right, excuse me.
Yeah, no worries.
I say that out of habit. I always think I'm on a Mustang dyno. It's a dyno jet.
That was a good pull though.
Yeah, but this is the Whipple tune. This is really not right for this combination, but it's just thing, you know, to see what it makes.
It's a converter lock. Looks like it's probably what that is right there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, pull.
Carried out pretty good. It's not bad.
He got out of it at 75, and it looks like it's still on the climb.
Right.
But it's up to him whether, you know, what the data says.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's a decent pull. Nothing wrong with that.
Let's see what the next pulls are like.
That's it.
What happened there?
And it's a misread.
That was that run just now?
Yeah, that was that run.
All right, so we made a little more power, 643, and the torque picked up. It's he's got a lot of work to do, but at least he's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, we're at 73 degrees. We've seen better than this. We're gonna give it a pull.
105 degrees, but it's a dry heat.
All right, guys, look at this. You see where that cursor is right there? That's showing us the intake air temp, 105 degrees. That's what we're dealing with here today, guys. It's super hot, and this is what we're contending against. But this is why we have killer chillers in the car, because our downstream air temps are going to be a lot lower than that. If we had a heat exchanger in the car, you could be sure that it would be, our downstreams would be much higher than that going through the blower. So I think we have a data log of what the downstream air temperatures are. Let's see if we can get that. All right, guys, it's like super hot here in the shop today. We're down here in Florida on the East Coast in mid-September, right? It's roughly like 105 degrees here in the shop. It's really hot for us. We just shot the top of the blower with the infrared. It showed 73 degrees. Now, we've seen a lot less than that on killer chiller cars. Now, we've seen as low as 50, even 40 degrees on Trace's car. We've seen that on my car too. But you know, we're trying to rush through the tuning just to get it right. And then when we do, you know, the full pulls to try to get the most power, we'll let the chiller cool down. But we're gonna go do a pull with it right now, and then we're gonna see maybe James can give us a downstream air temps, see how the chiller is working for us. We're doing a little better, 654. I lost you there. 654 horsepower.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think the air got hot.
512, but that dip right there.
Yeah. I was trying to hang around it. It went sooner that time because I think it was hot.
Yeah.
He was sitting there running it. But it started to carry it out on top. Nice.
Yeah. It's starting to look a little bit better. It peaks a little early, but this should carry out a little better. I mean, I know we're going to get to it, but this is an area of concern right here. We're going to have to work that out.
Yeah,
but we're getting close, 650, almost 655.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. All right, guys, that was a pretty good pull. We did 654 horsepower and a little over 500 pound-feet of torque. James just told me that the downstream air temps was between 82 and 87 degrees, and we didn't really let the killer chiller get that cold. A little later on, when we get down to our final tunes, we'll let the chiller run a little bit longer. You know, we'll let the car idle a little bit for a while, just to get the intercooler fluid a little bit colder. We should make some more power. Still a lot of work to do, but there's still a lot more power to be had in this engine.
All right, so we're just making some changes to the file here. We're chasing. I'm trying not to get too aggressive with each change that I make. One of the things that I do is, you know, I'll start chasing, but rather than going, you know, I know that my goal is 10 degrees off of where I am now. I'll do 2 degrees at a time to get where I want to go. And that's what we're doing right now, is just slowly getting where we want to
Right.
go. The car is safe, it's conservative, and we're just working our way to our goals.
All right, man, work your magic. All right, she's picking up.
I got it out. Got that dip
We
out.
took that dip out. That dip, from what I was told, was the throttle body was trying to close. James found some values in the tune to get that to stop happening. So that looks really good. We made 675 horsepower and 523 pounds of torque on this dyno. And you know, we're 105 degrees out today. And these numbers are starting to look pretty good. 93 octane gas, no additives. Things are really moving in the right direction. All right, everybody, so what we're looking at right here is the most recent pull. We made 675 horse, 523 torque to the wheels. The power carried out nice all the way to the top, about 7,800 RPM. The other graph that you see there, that's the first pull that we did on the Whipple tune, and we picked up a lot of power over that. This is all SAE 5, smoothing 5, or SAE corrected, I should say, smoothing 5. These are good numbers. I'm sort of getting into an argument with the owner that there's more power here, but we're here for drivability. We're not really here to make max power. So, you know, there's more in it. We could add some boostane to the fuel and probably make well over 700 horsepower with this package. But it seems the owner only wants a 93 tune. So we're looking roughly at 675 right now. Let's see. I don't know if I should be messing with this, but anyway, 675 at the top right there. We made a lot of power with this thing on 93. And we're going to let it cool down and do one glory pull, see if we can get any more out of it. All right, guys, we're all pretty happy over here. The car made 675 horsepower to the wheels on a moderate tune. There really isn't a lot of timing in it. The engine's responding well. The killer chiller is doing its job. 675 horsepower is pretty good considering the kind of tune that we have in it. You know, I personally, I'm trying to influence the owner to, you know, go at it a little bit harder, throw a little bit more timing at it to see what it could do. But, you know, the owner of this car really doesn't want to have too much power. He daily drives the car. He's looking at the numbers and he's already starting to get a little nervous. But, you know, if the transmission is shifting easily and it's got a good way of shifting through the gears, not too aggressive, my opinion is that the power is there only when you go pedal to the metal. So anyway, we're going to let the car cool down and try to do a glory pull with it to see, with just maybe a couple of tweaks to the tune, not too much, maybe we'll make a little bit more power. But we're pretty happy with what we got. We feel like we've been successful. There was a issue in the tune at one point through the mid-range where the throttle body was shutting. You could see it in some of the earlier pulls. James found it, he found the tables, he changed them, and we got a good run out of it. So things are going pretty good for us. Like I say, we're going to let the thing cool down, and we're going to do a glory pull with it.
All right, Al, got something to show you.
Okay, what do we got, James?
All right, I've kind of simplified this down so that we can kind of see. I've removed a bunch of the stuff that we don't need to see here. But basically what we've got is the blue line here is the incoming air temp. So this is what air is coming into the air box.
So that's IAT1.
This is IAT1. Even with a closed air box in this shop, we've got 111 degrees at the beginning of the pull. By the end of the pull, we're up to 117 degrees. It is not cold inside this shop today.
No, it's hot here today.
Now, with the killer chiller, now keep in mind, this was a pull we did a couple of runs ago, so we really didn't let it cool down enough. So what we've got here is, I mean, it starts at 97 degrees, drops down to 91 degrees, and finishes up at 93 degrees. Once we get to the finishing point where we can start letting it cool down, let the killer chiller run so that we actually super cool that fluid,
Right.
this number is going to drop even further. So here's a perfect example of why in Florida, 116 degree incoming air temp, we're 93 degrees after the fact.
So if you had a heat exchanger, there is no way your post-blow temps could be below ambient air.
No, typically with a heat exchanger, the best that you can hope for is to equal ambient.
How often does that happen?
You know, the Whipple stuff isn't bad, but it'll still be 10 degrees, 20 degrees over ambient, typically during the wide open.
All right, nice work, James. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna cool it down and
Yeah, we're doing a cool down on it, and a couple more little changes here, and we should be looking for good power on the next one.
all right, let's do it. Good information, guys. Look at that stuff. All right, guys, we'll let it cool down. All right, guys, while we're letting Howler cool down, I'm gonna show you a couple of things. Look at this beautiful 2016 Mustang GT. Awesome looking car. PP1, deep impact blue. On the most part stock, you know, not a lot done to it. Actually, the guy who's running this shop, this is his car. Look at this baby right here. MT82 car, premium. She's nice, man. Gotta love this one. Look at that, an old Fox body. I'm sure that somebody's going to get around to building that someday. Those cars are going up in value. Look at this one. This thing is insane. 2018 Mustang GT, PP1, 401A, 10R80. Shadow black with the blackout package. I love these wheels. Look at that. He's got the Sport Plus Sport Cup 2 tires on it in the front. He's got Mickey Thompsons in the back. I think these are 305s. Yeah, they fit nice. Look at this, man. You gotta love these Gen 3s. There's just something about them. And we're over here on the East Coast. Owner of this car spends a lot of time down at Steeda. I can't say I blame him. Steeda's got the best stuff, and they're amongst the best when it comes to doing work. They got great mechanics, and they're all good people. What I like about Steeda is when you call them, they answer the phone. Who else does that these days? We got some nice stuff here, guys. I really like this one. Okay, guys, so all the dyno work that we did here today was done right here at McDonald Motorsports. We're here in Stewart, Florida. If you're in South Florida or anywhere in Florida and you need a good dyno shop, look up McDonald Motorsports. Great people, great guy. Nice little shop too. You know, if you're on the dyno and you want to, say you got some belt slip and you got to change a belt, or if you want to change a pulley, test a few things, you know, put in a new fresh set of spark plugs or something like that, you could do it right here in house. Seamless transition right to your new tune. So we had a good time here. It's a great shop. If you need a dyno shop anywhere in Florida, check out McDonald Motorsports. Great place to be to do dyno work. All right, guys, we got 55 degrees up here. This is about the best we've seen all day. All right, we're going to give it a glory pull now. We made a little bit more power, 679 peak horsepower and 539 pound-feet of torque. That's actually quite a bit. So you carried the power out nice up top. It's looking pretty good. 93 octane fuel, guys, no additives, just 93 with a good conservative tune and a killer chiller. Looking pretty good. SAE.
All right, so here we have the final pull that we did on the car, and you can see we're starting. The air intake temps are still 109. We actually had a fan blowing right into the front grille of the car, just to get those air temps as low as we possibly could. We let the killer chiller run, so at the beginning of the pull we were 80 degrees. Now what happens here is when you're not moving a lot of air, the IAT2 mimics the surrounding temperature of the supercharger more than it does when air is moving. So what you'll see is during the run, you'll see that IAT2 come down, and of course the IAT1 starts coming up because we're getting more and more heat around the car.
Right, I see it.
And then your IAT2 keeps coming down. Well, there's a point in which it has no more temperature left, so that's when it starts coming back up again. But we're still 78 degrees downstream air charge temps at the top of a pole, and this pole is let me see here.
76 degrees downstream.
Yeah. I think we were about 10 seconds for the pole. So over a 10-second period of time, we went from 80 degrees down to 73 and then back up to 77, 78.
So from 73, 77 downstream on a 100-degree plus day, that just goes to show you how good the killer chillers work.
Yeah. Yeah, the killer chiller is, especially in Florida, it really does a good job of controlling your temperatures and giving you the ability to deliver more timing, and not just more timing, but more reliable timing, more consistent timing. It's going to deliver the same timing over and over and over. Whereas if you have a regular heat exchanger in front, you could be one pole, you'll be 120 degrees, the next pole you'll be 130 degrees. I just did a Roush supercharger the other day. Even one pull, we were 150 degree downstream air charge temps after one pull.
Wow, that's
it was about
crazy.
a 10-second pull.
So we do multiple pulls, and we're still seeing 70 degrees downstream.
Yeah, as long as you give that killer chiller enough time to cool that fluid in between runs, you're good.
All right, James, awesome. Great info. Thank you.
Thank you.
So James, give us your final thoughts on this tuning session.
All right, so one of the reasons that people bring their cars to me over, some of the other guys. I mean, I know that there's a lot of other tuners out there, and there's nothing against any of those guys. One of the reasons people bring their car to me is because I tend to give people stuff that's tailored more towards their taste. Like if you look at this dyno sheet, the blue line is the tune that it came in with. We picked up, I know you're going to look on the internet and you're going to see cars that make a lot more power than this, but this is what they wanted. They wanted a nice smooth power band, and it was even smoother on a previous run than that, but this gives nice controllable power. It's still a big difference from the Whpple cow,
Right.
but we're not getting crazy with it. They specifically didn't want ridiculous numbers with this car because he wants something that's smooth, something that has good drivability, that he's not going to lose control of, that is predictable when he's driving it. So we're trying not to get crazy with it. I could have given it more power, but why?
Well, he didn't want more power, and he's going to drive this car in the rain too, so we have to be a little careful.
And that's a lot of, so we got 679 horsepower. If we go show STD just like everybody else does, we made 692. Still, we're not setting the world on fire here. This isn't the highest horsepower car I've ever tuned, but it's still good, solid, reliable numbers. It's going to be safe. It's going to give him something that he can drive. And this is exactly what they wanted from the car.
Yeah, I was just talking to Chris. He said he drove the car and it's exactly what he wanted, so he did a good job.
The pedal mapping, the transmission shifting, the other aspects of the tune that give you that drivability. It's not just the dyno numbers.
Yeah.
So those are the things that they really wanted addressed. So we went back to the Whpple calibration, which is what they brought the car in to be with.
Right.
And then I modified that calibration from there and just gave them better horsepower, dialed it in for the headers, dialed it in for, just to get them something a little bit more specific, a little bit more dialed into what they were after.
Well, you gave him what he wanted, and that's what counts. So, nice work, James.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, so we had a pretty good day on the dyno here with Howler. We got a tune in the car that the owner actually likes. It's a real easy tune. Actually, it's not much of a race tune. It's a good street tune. It's a good commuter tune. the owner is definitely happy with what we did here today. And 679 horsepower and 530 something pound-feet of torque is actually pretty good. I had conversations with the owners. I tried to convince them to throw some boostane in it and add some timing to it and do some other things, because there is really a lot more in this car. But this is the way they want it, and this is the way they're going to keep it for commuting. And we have the Lund tune safe in the N gauge, so that when we go to race, we can throw the Lund tune it and run it at the track. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I got Rick here. I ran into him while we were tuning over at McDonald Motorsports here in Stewart, Florida. What's going on, Rick?
How's it going?
So Rick's got a pretty nice car here, a 2018 Mustang GT, built up NA. Tell us a little bit about your car, Rick.
Well, I kind of followed suit of what Steeda was doing in Pompano with Scott Boda in his car. So I started a little bit at a time.
Right.
Got a full Steeda rear suspension on the car, and the biggest improvement here is the NA setup that we have. So right now we have a Cobra Jet intake with a VMP 69mm throttle body, being fed by a Steeda cold air intake.
All right, that sounds cool. Let's turn the camera around. Let's look at the car. You got active exhaust too, right?
Yes, I did.
All right, so we're going to check out the active exhaust. That's awesome. What is that, normal mode?
Yeah, that's normal mode, so we'll put it in, automatically starts in normal mode, so we'll put it in quiet mode, just give up.
Okay.
It's a little cold.
Listen to how quiet that is.
That's quiet. This is track.
That's crazy, man. I haven't seen that many active exhaust cars, man. This thing is awesome. So tell us what's under the hood.
So what we have underneath here is a Cobra Jet intake.
Right.
Full exhaust with Cook's headers. I have a MagnaFlow resonator.
Nice.
And then the stock active exhaust.
That is awesome. So so this is a 401A car, right? 10-speed automatic?
It has everything except for heated and cooled seats.
Right.
In the back, I have full Steeda suspension.
Sweet. I like these wheels, man. What kind of wheels are they?
These are the SVE, the GT7 wheels, so the replicas of the Ford supercar wheels.
That's nice, man. I think my friend Jeff Hager has these wheels. What do you say we pop the hood, see what it looks like underneath? There you go, the Cobra Jet. That is sweet. Now you say you're running the stock cams?
The stock cams for right now. So that's
VMP, twin 69mm, man, that's a lot of throttle body.
And so what's great about VMP is that they run the factory electronics. So when I originally put this on, I had a converter box, and I did run a older throttle body. But this one, it's very smooth. It drives like stock.
Sweet. Yeah, you're always better off not going with the monoblade, right? You're better off with a twin something or other.
Yeah, especially for a street car.
Yeah, especially an NA car, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice airbox here. Steeda parts?
That's Steeda.
Sweet. So who tuned it?
This is tuned by Lund.
Lund, one of the best in the business. Typical Gen 3. There you can see the DI pump. It looks so innocent, but a car like this, I would say, with stock cams and a good tune, would probably make close to 500 horsepower, but not quite. Did you ever have it dynoed?
I haven't had this dynoed. The intake was actually off another friend's car, and his car put out 506 to the wheels. With
Really?
this intake and a smaller
506 with stock cams?
Yes, stock cams.
Okay, so about 500 horse.
So a little bit, he had the Ford Performance intake, so this one's, the Steeda's a little bit larger, so you get a
Right.
little bit more flow.
Nice.
And I put this stock airbox in to keep the IATs down,
Right.
which
Yeah.
seems to do its job here in Florida. especially.
I've had problems with the cold air intakes, the IET ones, were just too high. You know, I mean, I got a blower car, so with the killer chiller, I bring the temperatures down post blower. But with NA, you basically want to take air from outside the car. Really, you don't want to pull anything from underneath the hood.
Yeah, agreed.
But this car is nice, man. This is a car that's originally came with the blackout package.
Oh, this? No, actually, I added.
The mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I added that on afterwards.
Oh, all the blackout
Yeah,
stuff?
all the blackout stuff. And in the back, I just have the Steeda emblems in the back.
Yeah, I noticed that. And the windows are tinted too.
Yeah, I didn't go too crazy on the window tint.
It's like a Darth Vader car, you know, shadow black, everything blacked out, and the color of those wheels kind of blends in really good, right? They're not too black.
Yeah, they're nice. I wanted a little different look, so instead of the all black out, which I think the black wheels look good on like white cars and orange cars, but in the black cars they stand out a little bit. These graphite wheels.
Yeah, graphite. That's
Give
what
it
I
a
was
little
thinking.
pop.
I forgot what they actually call that finish, but that's a graphite finish, guys. Look at how nice that looks against the black. You know, nice with the tinted windows. It's a nice ride, you know. I mean, a lot of people out there putting boost in their cars, but every now and then we run into a car like this, and this is really sweet. Cobra Jet, good tuner. What's not to like about a car like this one? Nice car, Rick.
Thanks, Al.
It's awesome.